made this known in his New Month declaration to Christians. According to him, the times are challenging, but God has assured his children of his protection and everything that is good.
For you to continue to be on the winning side, what you only need is to make the Lord your portion. In other words, make God your confidence. Let your hope be in him and not in any politicians or human beings. It is when God is your tower of strength that he moves on in an unusual way, even to help you. There is no doubt that the time we are in is a very challenging one in Nigeria. But my brother and my sisters, whatever you are facing, be encouraged, because there is hope for you. This I know from what the scripture says also in Lamentations chapter 3 and verses 23 and 25. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I hope in him. The Lord is good to those who wait for him, to the soul who seeks him. Therefore, my brother and my sister, as you go on in this new month, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will bring it to pass.
The Bishop of Lagos Mainland, the Right Reverend Acnn Johnson, has said that in doing God's work, especially when it looks difficult, Christians are required to take a leap of faith. He made this known in his sermon at the rededication service of Bishop Adelakun Howell's Memorial Church Auditorium, popularly called BAM Church, and located in Surulere, Lagos. The church auditorium wore a glorious and beautiful look as members as well as visitors were dressed elegantly and the atmosphere filled with the glory and presence of God. In his sermon, the Bishop, the Right Reverend Acnn Johnson, who quoted St. Augustine's, who said, and I quote, "Without God, we cannot. Without us, God will not," end of quote, urged Christians to always trust God as he will always make a way where there seems to be no way.
So in doing things in the church, it's not always very easy. There are those who will say it is possible. There are those who will say it is not possible. But in spite of all the challenges, and nothing good comes easy, we thank God that today, the people of God in this place can say, Ebenezer, thus far you have helped us. God's work needs us to take a venture or a leap of faith. Calculate it and see. But then again, God or St. Augustine tells us, without God, we cannot. Without us, God will not. At a point in time, we must take that step of faith and get it done. Because God will make a way where there even seems to be no way.
Speaking further, he appreciated God for the church and also commended the members of BAM Church, friends and well-wishers for allowing themselves to be used by God in making sure that the church wore a new look.
So we thank God. You haven't rebuilt. What we are seeing today is a testimony of a cooperation between God and man. A reminder, he tells us in the book of Haggai that silver is mine, gold is mine. Later at the Holy Communion service, we are going to hear it said again. Yours, Lord, is the greatness, the power, the glory, the splendor, the majesty. For everything in heaven and on earth is yours. All things come from you, and of your own have we given you. So we thank God for the faith of the people of BAM Church and their friends. Because this has gone beyond BAM Church. This has gone to friends and well-wishers. The real Afeniferes who have responded to the call from members of BAM Church to come over, come and help us. Come and help us glorify God in this place. And we thank God that many have responded positively. BAM Church, miracles to start happening.
The first session of the 5th Synod of the Diocese of Esako in Edo State began on a note of great expectations. In his sermon at the opening Eucharistic service, the Diocesan Bishop and President of Synod, His Lordship, the Right Reverend Felix Olorufemi, said God is looking for a man who will make his heart open and ready to command his children to live righteously. According to the bishop, righteousness has power to deliver and to save. While asserting that righteousness is only possible when one is in Christ, the cleric added that God does not use those he has not cleansed. Bishop Olorufemi further said the Nigerian nation presently needs righteous people in politics, the church and the society, so that we can be delivered from the clutches of sin and wickedness that have characterized our world today. The synod gathered at St. James's Church, Jetu, and reflected on the theme, the power of righteousness and the society, taken from Genesis 18:23 to 32. Venerable Bumi Aledegbami, the Archdeacon of Ifon Archdeaconry, has called on Christians to be true representatives of Christ here on earth, whose lives should lead people to Christ, not the other way around. According to the preacher, so many Christians are living in sin, and this attitude has made many unbelievers to despise them and what they stand for. Venerable Aledegbami stressed that Christians should be able to distinguish themselves from the people of the world through their lifestyle, adding that they are not expected to be lukewarm, but should be firebrand at all times. Venerable Bumi Aledegbami gave this assertion in his sermon during the installation of new officers for the 3rd Owo Company, an enrollment of Boys Brigade held at St. Patrick's Anglican Church, Ijebu-Owo. Conducted by the vicar of the church, the Venerable David Acnn, as he installed Mr. Ayotemitope Emmanuel as the new captain for the Boys Brigade of Nigeria 3rd Owo Company. The event also featured award presentations as individuals and groups who have done well were given awards of excellence. The Anglican Communion Brigade under the Diocese of Abuja has held its 2022 annual training camp for the members in the diocese. SNN News correspondent Carolina Chumbe, who was at the opening ceremony, reports that the Primate Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, His Grace the Most Reverend Dr. Henry Ndukuba, was represented at the training, which is aimed at enhancing the knowledge of all members towards meeting up with the aims and objectives of the Anglican Communion Brigade ACB. Here's the report.
The opening ceremony CB annual training camp, which started with an Eucharistic service at St. Jude's Anglican Church, Usos in 3, Abuja, had in attendance participants from all churches in the diocese with various activities. In his sermon, speaking on the theme, Be Still, taken from the book of Mark chapter 4, verses 39 to 41, guest preacher at the ceremony, Venerable Dr. Olayemi Fatusi, charged the participants to live a life of peace, availing themselves as instruments of peace. He urged them not to give up on situations around their life, family, and career.
If there is no peace, there can be fruitfulness, there can be joy. That's why we need peace. We need peace in our nation. We need peace in our home. And you need peace in your life. You need peace where? Tell your neighbor you need peace in your life.
Having series of activities like parade, the ACB also His Grace the Most Reverend Dr. Henry Ndukuba through his representative, Venerable Dr. Olayemi Fatusi. As he sends the primate's goodwill message to the participants.
The message of our father, the primate, to this camp today, as he has always said, the Anglican Communion Brigade is a mission in itself to reach our young people for Christ, raise them as soldiers of Christ, discipline young boys and girls, focus, and also
to the primate of Church of Nigeria. Hip, hip, hip.
In their separate remarks, the diocesan ACB chaplain, Reverend Beatrice Bako, the diocesan commander, represented by Captain Emmanuel Egbe, appreciated the primate for the opportunity, organizing the training, promising to make the training a memorable one as they air out their challenges.
He is very minded about what is happening, and that is why during our discussion he said this camp must hold, and here we are. And secondly, we thank him for sponsoring the camp, and our expectation is that brigade is mission of itself, and as a mission we are out for mission, and it is our expectation to fulfill the objectives of the Boys Brigade.
We need to encourage our vicars to help us encourage the boys and girls to come out. We need to make them to know that Boys Brigade of God, bring up our children in the way of Christ, and these are one of the ways we bring them up. It's for our vicars, our priests in our various churches to intercede the parents, the family, the children in the church, so that they can be bringing them into the Boys Brigade. I want to see appeal to the churches that these children are coming from. We can see today most of them, like 90% of these children, does not have uniform. The church can provide it for them.
Achumbe reporting for CNN News.
Thank you, Carolina Chumbe, for that report. You're still watching the news on the hour. Still to come, the Nigerian Christian Pilgrim Commission to introduce summer pilgrimage package for students in order to build a strong educational system. That story and others will come your way after the short break. Kindly stay tuned.
This time around, we want to change the narrative to tell people that your vote can count. The Nigeria belongs to all of us. And we country. We want to change bad economy. We want to change bad governance. We can't have old men in power anymore. The youth we need to take over. And then we need the right candidates in power that will make the economy work. A dollar can be selling for what? 610 naira. As against what it was before now. You don't need to sell your vote because you're mortgaging your future by the time you sell your vote. So, yes, that may have happened at the primaries. But after the primaries comes the general election. And that is where our power will be exercised. We are not going to sell our votes. We are going to make sure that we vote for the right candidates, people that have credible results that will bring about a positive economy and turn around in this nation.
In regards to the state of the nation, I'd just like to use this representation when the dollar was equal to 145 in 2015, and now CBN rate is 450. 600 black market. I think that's enough representation to say how bad this nation is at the moment. There's so much inflation, there's so much insecurity, and I think we need to get things right. In Proverbs 29 verse 2, it says that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, and when the wicked, the people mourn. So for us to make it right, we need to put the righteous people in authority, and the only way we can do this is by getting our voters' cards and voting. If we can't vote, then it's useless, and we can't vote if we don't have our voters' cards. So I'm going to encourage every one of us out there that we should get our voters' cards. If you've not gotten one, go out there and register. At the moment, I know that the online registration is closed, but you can go to any INEC office or the local government area council offices where you can register. You can make your voice count. Let us vote people who are righteous into authority, and let this country rejoice, and let us be happy.
Thank you for staying tuned. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news on the hour. For more on our top stories, please visit our website at acnntv.com or our social media platforms on facebook.com or youtube.com/ACNNTV. To be up to date with our news and other programs, download the Avo TV app from Google Play Store. And you can also advertise your goods and services on ACNN TV. Moving on, as Makerere University celebrates 100 years of academic excellence, The chairman of the Council of Presidents of Interreligious Council of Uganda, IRCU, and Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, the Most Reverend Dr. Stephen Samuel Kazimba Mugalu, has commended the leadership of the university, urged them to look to the future with faith. The Archbishop made the remarks while preaching in a Thanksgiving service for the 100 years of Makerere University at the university's Freedom Square. He called for dialogue amongst the students, staff, and other stakeholders. Mrs. Lorna Magara, Makerere University Council Chairperson, said that the Thanksgiving service was to acknowledge God's goodness towards the university since its establishment in 1922. Professor Ezra Suruma, the University Chancellor, lauded the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda for his message of gratitude to God. He added by calling for teaching of love in schools and society for the nation to be stable. The Thanksgiving service to mark 100 years of Makerere University was under the theme, Ebenezer, thus far the Lord has brought us, 1 Samuel 7:12, as was jointly led by the presidents of IRCU. The Anglican Diocese of Sekondi, under the leadership of Right Reverend Alexander Kobina Asma, installed 5 priests as canons of the cathedral. The colourful service held at the Cathedral Church of St. Andrew the Apostle Sekondi was in recognition of their dedicated services to the diocese. The canon designate were Reverend Father Emmanuel Joseph Reiter, Reverend Father Emmanuel Yaki, Reverend Father Benjamin Osere, Reverend Father James Adoko Samson, Reverend Father Benjamin Okor. The 5 were installed in stores of St. Joseph, St. John, St. Thomas, St. Simon, and St. Matthew, respectively. Venerable Thomas Openg Bebong at the sermon urged the canon designates to throw in their lots, with Christ for the growth of God's kingdom, saying they have been elevated for a higher service which involves sacrificing your time, knowledge, and skills for the growth of the diocese. He said it is not about the black cassock with the red stripes, but it is about working tirelessly in their respective stores to the glory of God and keeping the faith with God and the people entrusted in their care. Venerable Bepong added that the canon designates could not accomplish their new task alone. The Christendom were to rally behind them to achieve their goals set to them by the diocesan. The Nigerian Christian Pilgrim Commission (NCPC) says it is collaborating with the Association of Private School Owners of Nigeria to introduce summer pilgrimage package for students. This was disclosed during a courtesy visit by officials of the association on the NCPC Executive Secretary, Reverend Yakubu Pam, in Abuja. Pam said the commission would work out modalities for the collaboration, which would also include parents. He said that instead of parents embarking on summer vacation to other countries with their children, the family will visit the Holy Land for their spiritual uplifting. Pam commended the association for assisting government in building a strong educational system, adding that education remains the bedrock of development of any society. He said having no education is like a disease and urged the association to ensure that their teachers were well trained so as to impart the right knowledge on children. Earlier, the national president of the association, Bishop Godley Opukeme, said that we have the commission to fraternize and deliberate on modalities for the summer pilgrimage for students and their parents, adding that the summer pilgrimage would help to unite and draw family members closer to God. According to him, the summer pilgrimage package will also include school owners to not only equip them spiritually, but also afford them the opportunity to acquire new experiences. He said this would enable them to relate with biblical and spiritual occurrences, as well as strengthen their faith in Christ for the advancement of Nigerian children. The World Council of Churches' 11th Assembly began its assembly in the German city of Karlsruhe on 31st August. This meeting of the highest governing body of the World Council of Churches started on the 30th of August and will last till September the 8th. This year's theme is Christ's Love Moves the World to Reconciliation and Unity. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier, in a keynote speech at the Assembly opening on 31st August, expressed what an honor and delight it was to welcome the Global Fellowship in Germany. He recalled with thankfulness that German churches were permitted to attend the first WCC Assembly in Amsterdam in 1948 and were welcomed as members on an equal. Members churches were welcomed to the WCC by the moderator of the meeting, Dr. Agnes Abwam, an Anglican from Kenya. Joining in 2016 was the Dutch Reformed Church from South Africa, the Church of Central African Presbyterian Blantyre Synod from Malawi, and the Council of Baptist Churches in Northeast India. In 2018, the African Brotherhood Churches from Kenya and the Community of Baptist Churches in Central Africa from the Democratic Republic of Congo joined the council. Then in 2022, joining the WCC were the Apostolic Faith Mission of South Africa and the First African Church Mission from Nigeria. The moderator said there were also 11 special guests from Ukraine. World Council of Churches was constituted and established in August 1948, 74 years ago. The last assembly was held in South Korea in 2013. Of the 352 WCC member churches, 395 are attending the Carlsbad gathering. The Association of Anglican Clergy Ghana will hold its 11th National Conference from 13th to 16th September this year at the Ejura Baptist Women Retreat and Resource Center, Ejura in Ghana. The conference is on the theme, Leading the Nation on the Path of Integrity and Patriotism as an Anglican Clergy, Our Calling and Passion. It will be hosted by the Diocese of Ashanti Mapong under the auspices of the Most Reverend Dr. Cyril Kobina Ben Smith, Primate of the Church of the Province of West Africa, Archbishop of Internal Province of Ghana, and Diocesan Bishop of Ashanti Mapong. The opening ceremony, which is slated on Thursday, 14th September, will feature the Honorable Alan Kwadwo, Minister for Trade and Industries, as the guest speaker for the occasion. Also in attendance will be traditional rulers in the Ejura and the environment as special guests of honor. On Community Report, the World Meteorological Organization has said that the Horn of Africa is currently facing its 5th failed rainy season as average conditions across most parts of the region, in particular the drought-affected areas of Ethiopia, Kenya and Somalia, are expected to receive significantly below rainfall until the end of the year. And meanwhile, the WHO is very concerned about the situation as it does lead to many families taking desperate measures to survive. Many thousands of people leave their homes in search of food, water and pasture, with 700,000 people already facing famine in parts of Ethiopia, Somalia and South Sudan. You are still watching the news on the hour. To end the news, here's a recap of the major stories. Archbishop Michael Fakbe urges Christians to put their hope in God, even in challenging times, and be assured of good tidings. Bishop of Lagos Mainland, the Right Reverend Acnn Johnson, gives hope to Nigerians, says God will always make a way where there seems to be no way. Plus, Anglican Communion Brigade, Abuja Diocese holds 2022 annual training camp. Here's a reminder, the future belongs to those who dare to dream. Dream this weekend. Thank you for watching. And with that, we'll draw the curtain for this edition of the News on the Hour. I am Phoebe Aguireyo. God bless you.